I think I told you, sisters and brothers, you may recall this, that um, before I entered seminary, most of my volunteer work, most of my lay ministry was involved with Boy Scouts. I told you this before. And once, many years ago, all the way out in Camp Kunata, part of 10 Mile River Scout Reservation, we went up to camp with my troop for summer camp. And there was this young man uh, who I just saw recently. When at my last trip to New York, I bumped into him at a September 11th commemoration. He's a police officer now and a volunteer firefighter, and he's helping young women and men, teenagers who are interested in becoming firefighters, to learn more about that particular avocation. But at this point, he was 11 years old, and he just bridged over from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. And he rose very quickly up through the ranks, and he was made first class very, very quickly. And in those days, I am told that it's not the case anymore. In those days, first class scouts can sign off on the requirements of lower ranked scouts, so that they, in turn, can advance in ranks. And we were finding, sisters and brothers, that a lot of these younger scouts did not have the skills that we were expecting them to have based on what was signed off on their book. They couldn't quite pitch a tent the way we expected them to be able to. They're not lay a fire the way we expected them to. They could not take care properly of the of wood tools, the knives and the axes and the saws in a safe manner. They couldn't tie some of the basic knots. It was very confusing, and what we kind of figured out was this young man who wanted to make his authority over these younger scouts felt, and so we're just signing off without actually testing these kids. Of course, that prompted a very serious conversation about the importance of leading, of doing all that's required to be a leader. He wanted all the recognition, all the affirmation, all the glory of being a leader, but he didn't want to do any of the work. That ain't new, is it? Sisters and brothers, we hear how the sons of Zebedee, yes, James and John, come up to Jesus and ask him, grant and ask, teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you. You know nothing good is going to come after that preface, huh? And of course, nothing does, huh? Grant that in your glory we may sit one at your right and the other at your left. They wanted all the affirmation, all the glory, all the recognition of being leaders. They seemed a little less interested in doing the hard work that's required to be a leader. And yet he assures them, the cup that I drink, you will drink. And with the baptism with which I am baptized, you will be baptized. He invites them, sisters and brothers, to be leaders the way he is a leader. And as a leader, through his suffering, he shall justify many, and our guilt he shall bear. We are all, sisters and brothers, called in one small way or another, or some big way or another, called to leadership. Intrinsic in our baptism, sisters and brothers, we are called by Christ to be leaders, but not leaders for our own good, not leaders for our own glory, not leaders for our own recognition, but to be leaders like Christ in the way that he showed his leadership on the cross. We are all called in exercising leadership. Sometimes these are in small ways. Today, for example, sisters and brothers, today is World Mission Sunday. And we are called to exercise some little leadership in supporting the work of the missions so that they can go out and we can go out and proclaim the good news to the whole world, to the far corners of the earth. In a couple of weeks, sisters and brothers, we got election day coming. And in a democracy, that's how all of us voters, and I hope all of you grown-ups are registered to vote, and are working hard and discerning on how to exercise that right, how to exercise that leadership. And it's tough. Of course, how we exercise our leadership on November 5th is going to dictate what leadership looks like in this country, in this state, in Ray County. I think most of you live in Ray County. Going forward. And how to exercise that leadership, sisters and brothers. We learn from Jesus Christ, who has been similarly tested in every way, yet without sin. We know, sisters and brothers, that upright is the word of the Lord, and all his works are trustworthy. So we embrace this holy and terrifying vocation as leaders. And we learn and we conform our wills to Christ's, to serve his majesty with sincerity of heart, to lead like he leads, because he did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. All my sisters and brothers, today, this week, we strive to conform our wills, our hearts, our minds to Christ. And in that shape, form our leadership to Christ, so that we may confidently approach the throne of grace to receive mercy and to find grace for timely help. Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever.